Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be using this brand new stamp set from Lawn Fawn called Fantastic Friends. I'm also going to be using the coordinating dies as well as a die set from My Favorite Things called High Rise Alphabet lowercase, or uppercase, I'm sorry. I'm starting out with some 5x7 watercolor paper, and I'm also going to be using some freezer paper to do some masking. I'm cutting out the freezer paper using those alphabet dies, and my plan is to have my greeting on the watercolor paper masked off with the freezer paper and then do a bunch of inking on top. So freezer paper has two sides, one side that's dull and one side that's more shiny. So the shiny side is going to melt and seal off these die areas on the watercolor cardstock, and it's going to make it so that it's all protected while I watercolor over the top. Now, there wasn't a comma in that die set, so I ended up just cutting my own comma so that I could have it be grammatically correct and have it say, "Tank you, comma, dad." So I'm going to make a fish tank out of this. That's why it says "Tank you." And my dad loves fish. He's always loved fish. And so like even when he didn't have a fish tank, he would play these fish breeding games on his computer. He's just fascinated with fish. And so I thought that this stamp set was absolutely perfect. And there's a sentiment in the stamp set that says, "Thank you." And I thought that was so funny and it would make a great Father's Day card. So that's why I'm using "Thank you, Dad." Now, in order to get this freezer paper to stick to the watercolor cardstock, you have to iron it on. So I'm using this craft iron. It's just a steam fast small iron that I bought on Amazon. So I'll put a link in the supply section or in the video description below for you to purchase this little iron, but it's a really great iron. Now, I think the only thing I would have done differently is I would have put it on a higher heat setting, because as you'll see as I start doing a bunch of this watercoloring on top, it did tend to not stick all the way down to the watercolor paper, and it has worked in the past, and I think the difference is that I didn't have it hot enough. So I'm using 4 different colors of Distress ink, and I'm just smushing them onto my craft sheet here. I use Tumbled Glass, Picked Raspberry, Salty Ocean, and Chipped Sapphire. I also ironed on a little more freezer paper at the bottom that's going to protect the very bottom of the watercolor paper. That's because I wanted to put some lighter colors on there and have it be the bottom of the fish tank. So as you can see, that freezer paper absorbs the color really well. In fact, it makes it a little bit darker. I'm going to end up taking this freezer paper off, but I think it looks kind of cool like that too. So you really could just, leave it on there. It could be a really cool technique or a look if you wanted to have a tone on tone effect. But I'm just going to keep smushing this down onto the surface here, and I'm just tapping it in and getting some more color. And I also dried it and then pounced it into the ink some more to get more of that color. So I'm going to dry this one more time. And then as I go to peel up that freezer paper, some of it's going to start sticking. And the way to make that peel up even better is to reheat it. And I'm just using my heat tool. And that's what kind of melts that waxy surface and allows you to pull up that mask even more. So as you can see, I've got quite a few places where that color creeped underneath. It's not a huge deal for me on this one because I wasn't doing like a really clean watercolor look. This is a very kind of grungy look for this. So I think it sort of looks cool. Now this area on the YOU, they've got some really sharp edges, so you can see where that adhered really well. And also up here on the tank. And the thing that I'm going to do with these letters is I didn't like how they weren't quite legible. So I ended up taking some Picket Fence Distress paint, and I'm just going to paint that on with a paintbrush. Now you could use any white acrylic paint for this. This just happens to be the one that I have on hand, and so that's what I used. But I'm just painting on just to redefine these letters just a little bit, especially on the word dad, because that first letter D got really distorted by all that color. So I needed to clean all that up so that it was a lot easier to read. So after I painted on all of the white areas to make it more legible, I got some unicorn spray ink from Hero Arts, and I'm going to add some droplets of white paint or white acrylic spray, whatever you want to call this. And I'm not even spraying it at this point. I'm just using the actual spray little nozzle and tapping it with my finger and getting some droplets. Then I just did a couple little sprays, actual spritzes to get a little bit of color. So I'm adding a little bit of color on the very bottom because you notice that D, it just kind of ends. There's no defining line. So I wanted to make sure that that blue area was there. So I just used a little more of that chipped sapphire and some water and a paintbrush to add that in. Then I took antique linen and brushed corduroy and painted on a sand color. Now this could look almost like a beach scene or things like that, but it's going to end up being more of a fish tank. And this brown color looks really, really nice here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and heat set this to make sure everything is dry. And then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry overnight because that most of the watercolor and paint stuff dries quickly, but those white droplets of spray ink take a long time to dry. They just don't seem to dry as quick as other mediums. So this is the next morning now. And I'm going to move on the card by stamping all of those fish on some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. And I just stamped them twice. And I'm going to be coloring them with Copic markers. So this ink is Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I use that because of the Copic coloring. So I'm going to speed up the video here and turn on some music, and I will see you guys when all the coloring has been completed. So all of the fish and including those two little sandcastles are colored. So I'm going to use the coordinating dies and just run them through my die cutting machine. I thought about kind of fussy cutting these, but then I thought that the white outline would really let them stand out on top of this really busy background. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere a few of these directly onto the watercolor cardstock or the watercolor paper. The sandcastle, because I wanted that to make sure that it stayed near the bottom, and the little hermit crab as well. And then I'm just gluing on some of these fish. Now I'm going to be creating a shaker card out of this, and I'm going to include the other fish as well. So those are going to kind of get tumbled around and they might go upside down. But I wanted some of the fish to always stay right side up so that they would never look like they're floating at the top of the fish tank and something's happened to them. But it's going to look like that a little bit because of the shaker element to this. But I just wanted a few of those fish to stay in place. So I'm gluing on this watercolor piece onto some more cardstock. This cardstock is cut to 5.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. That's because I needed to add the foam area for the shaker, but I didn't want it to cover up so much of that watercolor scene, and also that sand castle was kind of near the side. I didn't want that to be covered up by the frame or the foam. So I took some cardstock. This is some more cardstock cut to 5.5 by 7.5, and I measured 1/2 inch from each edge and then used a ruler and cut that out to create a frame that's going to go over the top of all the foam pieces that create the shaker card. So that's Sophie meowing back here. Hey, Soph. Now she's not going to meow at you. Anyway, Sophie's my cat, if you were wondering. So I'm taking some 3M foam adhesive and adding that to the outside edge just to create a border. And after I have that placed on there, I'm going to go ahead and peel up those backing pieces and glue on another layer of foam. I want there to be plenty of space for all the sequins and little bits inside to move around. So I'm using 2 layers of foam instead of 1. At this point, I decided it would be best to create the card base and get this all put together before I finish this shaker card. So I have two pieces of cardstock here. One is 5.5 by 7.5, and the other is 5.5 by 8. On the larger one, I just scored 1/2 inch off one end, and I'm putting some adhesive on the inside of that flap. Really, really strong adhesive. And then I can go ahead and take that other piece of cardstock and line these up and then fold that flap over so that the flap is on the back of the card. So I'm just lining those up and then folding that flap over. I usually have to even up the end of the card too, so I'll just trim that off my paper trimmer to make everything match up. So then I put some adhesive on the front of that card and then press the shaker area right on top. And now I have the card built, so I don't have to worry about gluing on that shaker area after it's done. So I'm going to peel up the backing pieces, and I'm going to start filling this whole shaker card with more of those fish. So I just placed some fish in there, and then I started putting in all of the glitter and sequins. So I'm just putting in some fish. I want to make sure that I don't have a lot of the same color of fish, even though I had a pretty good variety anyway. So I'm just putting in some more of these little fish. These are really tropical looking fish. I think they're really, really fun. So I'm just putting more of those in. I left out that second shark because I thought just one would be enough. And they're going to move around inside, so it's going to be real cute. So I have some glitter from Martha Stewart Crafts. I've got this little star-shaped blue iridescent glitter. And then I also have some of that same shape but in white, and it has more of a pink and purple shimmer. I thought that would really play up those two or three fish that are pink and purple. Then I just took a variety of different sequins. I've got some pale blue and some more royal blue and some iridescent and some shiny clear, just a bunch of different sequins. I'm putting quite a bit of glitter and sequins in here because I want it, it's a big card for one thing, and I want it to kind of really shake around and be really glittery. So I have some acetate here. This is Lifestyle Crafts window sheet, and I've cut it to be the same size as the card, which once again is 5.5 wide by 7.5 tall. Just press that down onto that foam. Actually, this was actually kind of a little shorter than that. It was actually about 5.25 by 7.25. So there's a little bit of that sticky foam tape sticking out the edges, and that's going to help adhere that frame on top. So I took some glossy accents and just put that on top of that acetate or that window, and that's going to adhere the frame on really well. So like I just mentioned, the very outer edge of that foam tape is still exposed. So the inner portion of that frame is glued down by the glossy accents, and the outer portion of the frame is glued down by the foam tape. So I'm just placing this frame on here really carefully, making sure I have it in place, and then pressing it down really well. And that's going to finish the card. If you want to, you could put something on the inside. One of my friends who saw this card thought it'd be fun to put some of the extra fish inside and then put another sentiment or something like that. I think that would be really, really fun. It's completely up to you. I generally keep the inside of my cards completely blank because that's where I write a message to the recipient. So in this case, it'll be for my dad for Father's Day. So thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching today's video. On screen right now are 3 more shaker card videos for you to check out. So you can click on any of those that are on screen and it'll take you directly to that video. Or if you're on a mobile device or a tablet, I have links in the video description for these cards as well. You can visit my blog at kwarnerdesign.com, and I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm so super close to hitting 150,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you like videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.